The golden calf was not so much a replacement of God as it was a supplement to God. You say, well, why a calf? That seems kind of random. Well, other nations at the time commonly worshiped the calf as a symbol of protection. In Egypt, for example, they worshiped Apis, the bull god, who was one of their prime deities. And in Canaan, the region through which they're traveling now, one of the principal deities was named El, who was also a divine bovine. And so what you're seeing is that in a time of anxiety, Israel adopts the support structures of the culture around them and trusts in what the world around them trusts in. So let me just ask you to consider, how similar is your source of joy and your source of peace? How similar is that to that of the culture around you? Can you only feel happy and secure when you have all that the world around you tells you that you must have? Or do you have a joy and a peace that is odd, that baffles the world, that people frequently comment on because you seem to have a hope they don't know anything about? I want you to listen. I want you to consider this. What if the enemy's great temptation in your life was not to get you to outright reject God? What if his temptation was for you to supplement your trust in God with something else? When our enemy comes at us to tempt us, it is not usually, listen to me, it's not usually in the form of God or, as in you gotta choose this and reject him. It's usually in the form of God and. Isn't that exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden? The serpent did not slither up to Adam and Eve and say, hey, there's no God. You know that, right? You should be an atheist. No, what he said is, in addition to God, you need this tree of knowledge of good and evil in order for you to be complete. Nobody is asking you to give up God altogether. Even Satan is not tempting you to completely give up on God. But what else is there that you require in addition to God and his will as a necessity for life? Where are you right now saying, God, I want to belong to you, but in order to feel like I've got a full and complete and joy-filled life, I also need to be married, or to have a marriage that looks like this, or to have kids that turn out well, or to be financially well off, or to look a certain way or weigh a certain amount, or to get to this particular place in my career. An idol, a golden calf, is anything you require in addition to God to feel secure and complete in your life. This may not seem like any big thing to you, but this chapter shows us that God considers it an act of supreme betrayal. In fact, in chapter 34, he's going to compare this to marital betrayal, such as when an adulterating spouse says to their marriage partner, in effect, you're not enough for me anymore. I don't want to lose you. I'm not asking to get divorced. I'm glad you and I are married, but I also need the love of somebody else in addition to you to satisfy this part of my heart. In fact, the materials they used to construct this golden calf were in and of themselves an insult to God. Do you remember what they made this calf from? Verse 3 says they took their gold jewelry and melted it down, took off their gold jewelry and melted it down to make this calf. Well, do you recall where they had gotten all that gold jewelry? As they were leaving Egypt, God had moved on the hearts of the Egyptians to offer up their gold jewelry to them, which did not make any sense, of course. The Egyptians hated the Israelites at this point. But you tell me now as they're leaving, they're like, yeah, good riddance. Here's my best earrings and my favorite bracelet. These have been like God's wedding presents to them, and now they're taking them off and melting them down to make another God. It'd be like a wife hawking her wedding ring to pay for an exclusive vacation with a man she's having an affair with. When it comes to how God feels about you and me and our relationship with him, it's a lot like how my wife feels about me. She does not want to be one lady on a list of romantic interests. She would not even be content to be first on that list. She wants there to be no list. It's a list of one. And if she's not gonna be the only one, she doesn't wanna be one at all. Well, see, that's how God feels about his people.